This is the section on parallelograms, rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. We're going to be going over a graphic organizer that we're going to use. So the graphic organizer looks like this, with 7 rules for parallelograms, rectangles, 4 rules for rhombus, 3 rules for square. A quadrilateral of 4 right angles is a rectangle. It's a special type of parallelogram. It has one opposite side. Number 1 is opposite sides are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. Opposite sides are parallel. Consecutive angles are 180. Bisectors are all equal, just like in this picture here. Diagonals are equal. And all angles are 90 degrees. Well, now that we have filled in this section, we're going to move on to an example. Example, if AE is 5 inches, AE is here to here. If this is 5, find EC. So EC can be found because we now know that this is congruent to this, is congruent to this, is congruent to this. So this becomes 5. And due to that, we know the entire length. But also, due to the other rules that we've discussed, the diagonals are completely equal, which meant if I took BD out, put it over here, BD, and I took AC out and I stuck it over here, and we measured them, they would be the exact same. So AC would be 10 inches and BD would be 10 inches. We will next be filling in the rhombus rules. There are 4, and I will show you them now. A rhombus follows all the rules of a parallelogram. That's a summary rule. That's the first rule. All sides are congruent. Diagonals are perpendicular. Each diagonal bisects the pair of opposite angles in each corner. So what that means is we can now find an entire triangle. Knowing this rule, that rule 3, that's perpendicular. If I told you that this angle down here was 30, what would be angle DEB? Correct, it would be 60. And then the last one is square. It says summarize the rules of each shape above. Is it really that simple? Well, let's take a look. Properties of rhombus and squares. The squares rules. A square has all the properties of a parallelogram. A square has all the properties of a rectangle. A square has all the properties of a rhombus. So to recap, all the rules of a parallelogram were the first things we went over. We tested each other. We were testing every day, and we came up with opposite sides are congruent, opposite sides are parallel, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles, 180. Triangle gets created with one diagonal. If one is 90, they're all 90, and then diagonals bisect. And I'd like to end it with a fun rhyme we learned from the rectangles, which is to find the angles of a rectangle, they are all right angles.